Well, for more on this story, we can speak to Jean-François Di Meglio, president of the Asia Center. Hello, and thank you for speaking to France 24.
Morning.
In his speech, Xi Jinping said that the one country, two systems model must continue long term. But how would you compare today's version of that model with the formula that was first applied back in 1997?
Well, once again, the formula was not stated in 1997. It was stated in 1984 during the agreements between Deng Xiaoping and Margaret Thatcher. And the agreement dates back to a very, very old time, 1984. And the situation nowadays is totally different. Why? Because in 1984, there was a provision to change the political system in Hong Kong. Hong Kong's political system was a colonial system, and in that way, Xi Jinping is absolutely right. He took out Hong Kong from a colonial system, but according to the agreements, Hong Kong should have been taken from a colonial system to a more democratic system with an election system which would allow citizens to voice their own opinions. And that did not happen. The very last revision of the political system in Hong Kong 3 years ago did not allow for normal citizens, should I say, to express their voices as in a democratic system, which was stated basically in the one country, two systems formula. So we are far away from what was intended in 1984.
Yeah. Before the ceremony began, the British Prime Minister, the U.S. Secretary of State had each said that China is not recognizing, not applying, not respecting that one country, two systems model. But during his speech, Xi Jinping said there has been a universal approval of it from the international community. When he says that, does anyone believe him? Who's he speaking to?
Well, I would say, they are all right. Boris Johnson is right. Unfortunately, Boris Johnson is speaking very, very late in the day. But the UK authorities should have voiced their opinion long ago. Between 1984 and 97, they had clout. After 97, they could have expressed their voice. No one heard them. So Xi Jinping is very right. He gets some form support from all the authorities, which are still playing by the Chinese game and are still investing into Hong Kong, albeit slower and slower, fewer and fewer. The only ones who would disagree with what Xi Jinping is saying are people from Hong Kong, because they demonstrated several times 2-3 years ago and took it to the streets. People who are now in jail. They wouldn't agree with Xi Jinping, that is for sure. They wouldn't approve of the one country, two systems, according to Xi Jinping's interpretation. But for the rest, it's true that in many, many ways, viewed from apart, viewed from the side, Hong Kong is still business as usual in some ways.
Now, earlier on Friday, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said that we are not giving up on Hong Kong. What card does Britain have to play here?
Well, only by allowing Hong Kong people to enter more easily to UK, to other countries in the West, and allow them to get jobs according to their competences, because it's now becoming obvious that Hong Kong will be more and more a place for people from mainland finding their own opportunities, and less for Hong Kong people wanting to express the potential they have, and they wanted to express in a former Hong Kong.
Carrie Lam replaced by this new chief executive, John Lee, who's pledged a new chapter for the city. He was a former security official. I believe he's the first security official to have this top job. He's promised a more aggressive approach to counter what he calls fear-mongering and bad-mouthing by critics. What do you think that means for the future of Hong Kong?
The leverage, I would say, would be social policies. It's true that Hong Kong is largely an equal society, and it's true that Carrie Lam has tried at the very beginning, and Jean Lee probably will try at the beginning, to level out the various statuses of citizens in Hong Kong, allowing for more social housing, for example, because housing is still very expensive in Hong Kong. So that's a way for a leader in Hong Kong to give a better image of Hong Kong. But that's about it.
All right, Jean-François Di Meglio, thank you very much. Jean-François Di Meglio from the Asia Think Tank Center.